Grief is overwhelming and unpredictable, and sometimes feels like it will never end. Today, we're walking through 4 questions that will allow you to focus on how to structure your day so that grief does not feel so overwhelming and unpredictable. You need structure, friend, to create a framework to rebuild some of that balance back into your life. These questions aren't going to fix your grief, no, because your grief is not something to be fixed. However, they're going to make some space for you to be you and see that it's possible to restore what grief has stolen from you. The chaos of grief is all consuming. So I'm giving you a blueprint today that's going to allow you to take a deep breath, slow down your racing mind, and see that you can survive and have peace restored to your day. We're going to do some mindset work today. So get your pen and paper so that you can take some notes. This is an episode that you might want to listen to more than once. If you're grieving the death of your child and you want the steps that lead to believing with confidence that life is still worth living, then you're in the right place. Hello, I'm Teresa, a grief mentor. That's been where you are, and I teach grieving moms like you how to navigate life after child loss. If you're ready to take a step of courage and build a solid foundation to live with hope and purpose, then I'm here to teach you how. Are you ready for what God has for you? Then I'm ready to teach you. I want to personally invite you to join me for a free support group for child loss. I remember the days when the weight of loss felt unbearable, when I longed for a space where I could just speak Andrew's name without hesitation or worrying about something somebody would say or think, right? Or the fact that I had to hold my tears back. That's why I created this free support group, because I know how much it matters to have a place where you're understood, where your grief isn't something to be fixed, but simply held with love and compassion. This is a space for you, friend, whether you want to share your heart or if you just want to sit in the comfort of knowing that you're not alone. You are welcome. No judgment, no expectations, just connection and support, and a reminder that a mother's love never ends. I'd love for you to join us. Visit thegriefmentor.com to learn more. Go to the middle of the homepage, find the section that says monthly support group. You'll have to fill out a little bit of a registration form so that I can get to know you a little better, and then meet me with that little Zoom link. And by the way, when you're a Grief Mentor Insider, I send out that Zoom link 1 hour before we meet. And our next meeting is February 20th. I can't wait to meet you. As grieving moms, we have a tendency to put ourselves last. That stops today, friend. I'm giving you a question that I want you to ask yourself at the end of every single day, because this exercise is going to help bring awareness to you on how you are treating yourself on this hard journey of child loss. Are you ready? Because I want to teach you how to be your own best advocate today. Write this question down. It's one simple question that's going to help you evaluate how you are treating yourself. You need this, friend. Here is the question. How did I show myself compassion today? As grieving parents, we often struggle with guilt, feeling like we didn't do enough, wishing that we could have changed something. Why didn't I know that? Why did I say that? Why did I pray that prayer? And then that twinge of guilt that surfaces every time you laugh or find yourself actually being able to enjoy life. And all of a sudden, all of those things that you accuse yourself come rushing in and remind you of all the things that you think you did wrong. All of us face this, friend. It is not isolated to you. All grieving moms and dads struggle with this in one form or another. Therefore, it's very hard for us to show compassion to ourselves, especially when you feel like you need to be punished for your child's death. This is a good verse to write down and meditate on to remind yourself that you are worth showing yourself compassion every day. It's Lamentations 3:22 through 23. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The New Living Version says his mercies are new every morning. Why do you think God knew that we would need mercy in respect to how we treat ourselves as grieving moms and dads? He knows exactly what you need, friend. And that is to show yourself mercy for all the things that you are allowing the enemy to accuse you of that you've taken on as truth. This verse reminds us that God extends compassion to us daily. Shouldn't we extend the same grace to ourselves? So here's your actionable step. Take a moment today to do one thing that nurtures your heart. Maybe it's allowing yourself to rest, to close your eyes and literally allow yourself to melt away into the kind of rest that only comes from a merciful Father that will bear the weight of your grief for you. Journaling is an option to allow your sorrow to come to the surface, to put words to it so it no longer lives as torment in the depths of your soul. Or maybe it's just breathing deeply and acknowledging, I am doing the best I can, that you are not perfect. None of us are. Not even the patriarchs of the Bible. That's exactly why God, in his goodness, allows us to start each and every day with a clean slate that he's offered you because he allowed his son to take on the weight of our sins and the sins of this world, expressly to give us a fresh start every morning. This requires a mindset shift that says, I don't have to bear it all on my shoulders because I am yoked to the one who will bear it for me. Question number 2 to ask yourself at the end of the day. I want you to write these down, friend. Question number 2 is, what obstacle did I overcome today? Every day in our grief, we get presented with a new obstacle, some big, some small. Maybe today it was getting out of bed for you, facing a memory, or simply making it through another moment. Being able to acknowledge the obstacles that you are overcoming is imperative for you to be able to see growth in your grief journey. Without the physical act of sitting down at the end of your day and writing down an obstacle that you have overcome, you will not understand how much growth that you have experienced in your grief journey. This is a very important step, friend. Don't forget to do this, regardless of how small it is. Jesus himself acknowledged that we would face suffering. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. John 16:33. The strength to face obstacles doesn't come from within your own strength. It comes through his strength. Okay, so your actionable step today is to write down one obstacle that you faced and overcome. Question number 3, who did I serve today? Now listen carefully. If you are in the very early stages of your grief, you may not feel like you can serve anyone because of the weight that you are carrying. It may be enough for you to be able to just get out of the bed and breathe. But the one way that you can serve someone today is to simply say, thank you. I'm not talking about serving someone where you have to expend a lot of energy. Just expressing gratitude to those around you is serving others. We are told to carry each other's burdens, and in this way, we fulfill the law of Christ. Now, carrying someone else's burdens doesn't mean that we take them on as our own to the place to where we are in despair. That is not what that verse means. But it does mean that we look out to those around us that we can see that are hurting too, especially if you're grieving as a family, and extend the same grace to them that you want them to extend to you. That is an act of service. So your actionable step is to think of one small way that you can serve someone today. That could be sending a text to a friend who has walked beside you in your journey. It could be seeing someone that you love inside of your family that's grieving, and maybe you don't have words, but you can just walk up to them and just wrap your arms around their neck. Or maybe serving someone means praying for them. That's a simple act that you can do, and that is serving someone else when you pray for them. Question number 4, who is one person or a pet that you appreciate and why? Grief can make it really difficult to see the good that is still present in our lives. And we tend to shy away from being grateful because the last thing we feel is grateful because our child is not walking by our side. I get that. If you go back and listen to some of my beginning podcast, you will see how hard it was for me to reach a place that I could be thankful for anything. But this is an important step, friend, because gratitude doesn't mean ignoring our pain. And often that's our mindset, right? We get caught in this mindset that says, well, I can't be thankful for anything because in my heart, I'm so broken. I just want my child back. And so I don't feel grateful about anything. And then we tend to ignore the good that we still have in our lives, right? But being able to show that gratitude reminds us that love and sorrow can walk alongside each other. So one person, it could just be one person or even a pet, right? Because I'll tell you a personal example of me in my own personal grief. We have a dog and his name is Hunter. And he is the most perceptive animal I've ever met in my life. Now, you have to remember that I grew up on a farm and animals don't belong in your home. That's the way I was raised. However, Hunter was Andrew's dog. So he holds special significance for us. And he would sit next to me and still does to this day. And if I cry, he attempts to lick my tears. And to be honest, it was a rough experience because his breath was so bad. You know what I mean? He had dog breath, but he loved me so much. He could sense my pain, and he still does that to this day. He will get as close as he can to me, and he will look at me with those piercing eyes. And if I'm not careful, I got to dodge that tongue because I know it's coming toward me to lick my tears. Okay, so maybe if you live alone, maybe you lost your only child, maybe you don't have a significant other that lives in your home, but maybe you share it with a pet, then express your gratitude to your pet. Love them. Let them know how much you love and appreciate them. Never met a pet yet that doesn't appreciate some TLC. But those that you do life with, don't forget to show gratitude toward them in their life. Don't forget to acknowledge the goodness that they bring to your life. This is a big one, friend, especially if you have surviving children. Don't get so lost in your grief that you forget to be thankful for your other children who are walking beside you. So the actionable step here is to take a moment to name one person or a pet that you appreciate every single day. Maybe you want to write them a note. Maybe you want to let them know how grateful you are for them. You know, like I said earlier, maybe it's a friend or a significant other or a surviving child, and you want them to know how grateful you are and how thankful you are for them. Okay, make this a habit. Or your negative thoughts will take over and you will only think negative thoughts. Friend, this is a subconscious thing. We've talked on the podcast before about how our brains are wired to keep us alive. So we naturally have what is called a negativity bias. Our brains are constantly searching for threats to extinguish to be able to keep us alive. And part of that comes from that negativity bias. It takes effort to remind yourself to think good thoughts, especially in grief. That's why we have Philippians 4:8. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Did you catch the action verb in the second sentence of that verse? Fix your thoughts. It does not come naturally, friend. So your number 4 is that you are going to find something, one thing, to be thankful for, whether that's a person or a pet, something, your circumstances where you're able to live your life in your nice home, or to drive that nice car, or to have friends. I want you to find one thing daily, friend, to be thankful for, and fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. It will take some effort on your part, but just think of it as a small step at the end of your day. Allow your brain, even if it's when you're laying in the bed going to sleep at night, allow yourself to find one thing in your life, be it a person, a pet, or something else, to be thankful for. The truth is that grief is hard. And some days it feels impossible to carry it, like you're standing still while the whole world is moving on without you. I see you, friend, and I know that pain. And I want you to know that you don't have to carry it alone. That's why I offer the one-on-one grief mentor sessions, not to push you past your grief, but to walk with you through it. This is a space where you can bring those hard questions, the doubt, the fear, and even anger. That's not going to scare me, friend, because if you listen to any of my podcasts, you know how angry I was in the beginning of my grief journey. You can listen to every single podcast I have. Today makes 151, and you can learn how to manage your grief by listening to those episodes. But if you don't know how or understand how to apply that to your life, how to personally make it benefit you, then it's not going to make a difference in your life, friend. So if you need some personal one-on-one time with me, let's do this together. Let's work through those places where you feel stuck, because you're going to receive a tremendous amount of compassion and understanding, because, friend, I personally have walked and am walking this road of child loss. I want to help you develop real steps to help move you forward that's going to produce some results in your life. We'll unpack that weight that you're carrying around, the pain, the questions, the guilt, the should-haves, and the what-ifs. And I'll help you find ways to honor your child's life so that their love continues to shape you in wonderful, amazing ways. I'll help you discover what it looks like to live again without feeling like you're leaving them behind. And we're going to invite God into your grief, friend, so that you can survive this with His strength and quit trying to bear it on your own. If you're ready for that kind of support, then visit me at thegriefmentor.com and book your session today. Now, let's recap the 4 questions that is going to help you remove the chaos that grief has thrust upon you. These 4 simple questions. I want you to write them down, leave them by your bedside at night, if you will, and make sure you run through these every single night before you go to sleep, because it will give you an eye-opener. Number 1, how you're treating yourself, friend. The first question is, how did I show myself compassion today? Number 2, what obstacle did I overcome today, no matter how small it is? And number 3, who did I serve today? And number 4, who is one person, pet, or thing in my life that I appreciate and why? Find one thing to be thankful for, friend. Have you ever heard that expression that grief is love with nowhere to go? When we show ourselves compassion and we start to recognize our strengths and our wins, and we start to serve others, no matter how small that is, and we begin to hold gratitude in our hearts, there's going to be a shift that comes, friend. And that shift is going to lead to you being able to live your life through the lens of more love than pain. Remember, you are not alone. God is with you, and He's holding you through this season. So here is your anchor verse of the day. His hope is a strong and trustworthy anchor for your souls that leads you through the curtain into the very presence of Almighty God. Hebrews 6:19. I want you to take the time to reflect on these 4 questions. And if this episode has helped you, share it with someone else that needs that encouragement too, friend. Join that free support group. We meet this coming Thursday. And if you need to go deeper, book that one-on-one session. I can't wait to meet you, friend. And that's all I have for you today. So until next time, take care.